Hello, everyone, and welcome to this special ENN edition where you will be meeting the 5 finalists for the Content Launchpad. Three of them are here with us, and we will be interviewing them live. You will be able to ask them questions towards the end of the whole panel, right? When we come to the panel. But before that, you will be meeting them, and they are going to share a brief of what their show proposal is about. Okay, so go ahead and get engaged in the comments, but we won't look at them until the end of the show. Okay. This is exciting. Yes. Congratulations to all of you who submitted your applications. This was not an easy decision. There were so many incredible submissions.
Good stuff.
And you should be proud of yourself. Even if you didn't make it to the final 5, right? You should be very proud of yourself because putting it together, and we know how hard pressing that record button is, and you had to submit that recording. So you should be proud of yourself for doing that. And more importantly, if we didn't know, if Ecamm didn't know of you, we know of you now. Mm-hmm. So congratulations. Yes. So with that said, we're bringing in our 3 of the 5 finalists of the Content Launchpad.
Let's bring them on.
We have, here they are. We have Tatiana. We have Matt, and we have Jerry. Congratulations, all of you. Congratulations. And now we're going to start with you, Tatiana. Can you please share what your proposal was about?
Okay, absolutely. Thank you so much, everybody. I just want to say that I am definitely in great company, and what an honor to find out that I am in the final round. So without further ado, let me tell you a little bit. And best wishes to everybody in this competition. Is it a competition? Is it a contest? The Launchpad experience here. For myself, my idea is creating a show that's going to help people like me who are the university lecturers, the adjunct faculty, adjunct professors who teach at a university on a part-time contractual basis. And typically there are not a lot of resources out there for us. And even if you think back to your own college experience, who were those educators that really truly left a lasting impact on you? I'd like to be able to teach so many different concepts to educators so that they can remember that college does not have to be boring, and so that they can create engaging experiences for our students using technology, using active learning strategies, using the power of video and visual appeal, and creating a sense of community and belonging in the classroom. So I need all the help that I can get creating this, especially in the areas that I'm not strong in. So this appealed to me so much to, first of all, the generosity of Ecamm to be able to offer something like this, but then also just knowing I could actually make this happen through this apprenticeship. If I had the skills and the resources that Ecamm is so generously offering, I know that it could become a reality. So thrilled, honored to be considered in this running among people that I consider my friends too. So I'm so happy to be here, and that's a little bit about the educational space that I'd like to create so that we can strengthen those college classrooms with a lot of engagement, with a lot of technology, and just making sure that the college experience is a beautiful one for young minds.
Thank you, Tatiana. We're gonna go, Jerry, with you next. Oh, you're muted.
Jerry.
You're muted.
Still muted.
To come back to us?
Yeah.
Come back to us?
Sorry.
No,
Oh, there
it's
you
okay.
go.
There
Perfect.
you go. There you go. All right, Jerry. Yes.
When you're on the Ecamm thing,
Yep.
I shrink the screen and I couldn't get to that mute button. Yep.
We feel you, Jerry. We know what it is about. So everyone meet Jerry. And Jerry, can you please share a brief about your proposal?
Sure, mine's a little bit different than maybe the others. I have no idea what other people propose, but I was proposing a comedy class, so to speak. My wife doesn't like the sound of comedy class. I have taught comedy, and more specifically improv, before. And by the way, I am an actor and a comedian. And also I'm a television actor. I'm an actor on the sitcom Abbott Elementary, which debuts tonight. So you can check me out tonight at 9 o'clock on ABC. But I've always wanted to bring things that I have brought in my classroom, teaching improvisation and comedy writing online. But also want to do that in a very funny and entertaining way. And so what I'm pitching is a comedy class, deep dive, so to speak. Like I was saying, my wife doesn't like the term comedy class. And even me, I'm like, comedy class is something that I want to make fun of, being a comedian. But this is supposed to be more of a tongue-in-cheek, lighthearted, very easygoing half hour where I talk to a lot of my friends who I've met in the past and over the years and who I still work with, and we talk about comedy. We talk about the history of comedy. So if you're a person that wants to get into comedy, if you're really interested, you want to do it in all forms. I've done improvisation, I've done stand-up, I've done sitcoms, I've done hidden camera, I've done sketch, and all forms of comedy. So if you want to talk about that, if you're into comedy, this is going to be the podcast for you.
All right, great. Thank you so much
you.
for that. And now we have Matt come and share.
Hello.
Yes.
I'm thrilled to be a finalist. Thank you for putting this on. Congrats to the other contestants. I'm just super excited and thrilled all around. So my idea plays off of Gen X. I am Gen X. And if you know anything about Gen X, we are the generation that came home from school with a latchkey and we had to feed ourselves. We went out to play. Lord knows where in the neighborhood. No cell phone. We came home when the street lamps came on. In other words, we were in charge of keeping ourselves alive. So people who are Gen X often have a very matter-of-fact, succinct, straight to the point type of advice. Speaking of advice, I have a wide range of knowledge across many areas of life. In business, I worked a small business, was sold to a huge corporation, so I've been in both of those worlds. I've had hundreds of freelance clients, personal stuff, husband, father, how to interact with people, all kinds of areas of life. I have knowledge. I'm a former teacher. I used to teach adult education classes for desktop publishing. Tech, I have a lot of tech knowledge. Anyway, the reason I'm coming up with this is someone asked me for some advice about a permit, and they were worried about working with government. I'm a former elected official. I know about local, county, state, federal. I just know a lot of information. Anyway, I gave her some good advice, and she says, Matt, you know a lot about a lot of different things. You should do an Ask Me Anything show. Light bulb came on. It's Ask Gen X. It will be an Ask Gen X show. I think this is uniquely positioned to take off because those who are Gen X and want to experience the content, resonate with the content, understand the message, they'll join. And then maybe some other generations who might not have a favorable outlook will want to join so they can retort and put their own. In other words, you don't hear this often. YouTube videos that have an equal number of likes versus dislikes explode across the platform because the platform pushes them out to the people who love the content, and they push it out to people who don't like the content. They just go crazy. So this is uniquely positioned. I love storytelling. I understand how to tell a story. I will weave the stories into all of the content. I envision, VODs, video on demand, edited videos, posting those in little segments, and then doing live shows. It's uniquely positioned to, I think, explode. I have unlimited content. I can talk about so many different things. So Ask Gen X is my idea, and I'm super excited about it. I think it will resonate and be a lot.
All right, amazing. Thank you. Thank you, everyone,
Matt.
for sharing that. So now we are going to ask individual questions, and we're going to start with Jerry. So, Jerry, are you ready?
But make sure I'm not muted. Yes.
Yes. Good for you. All right, Jerry, the first question for you. You have mentioned that you want to playfully make fun of the idea of teaching comedy while still offering real helpful advice. How do you plan to balance being entertaining and humorous with providing genuine learning experiences in your show?
Well, let me get serious for a moment. No. I plan on doing characters, things that will take away the seriousness. I've taught a lot of improvisational classes before, and in that, you really take the approach of we're very relaxed. Anytime a joke comes around, we're always going to be able to laugh at it. That's just the kind of atmosphere that we have. This, you'll be like a fly on the wall with me talking to my friends about comedy. So I would imagine that if you could imagine talking or listening to a lot of people who've been doing comedy over the years, and I'm talking about people, should I mention names? Tina Fey and Will Ferrell, and these are all the people that I've worked with. You imagine being a fly on the wall and listening to them talking about what they do. I was really inspired by LeBron James's podcast, where they really get into the X's and O's of basketball. To me, that's very entertaining. But also, you got entertaining people. I'm sorry. I can't sit and talk without laughing and joking. And so I don't think that I'm going to have to worry about the entertaining part. Probably maybe more of the informational part, because we'll have to watch the joking around when I get in the room with my friends, and it just doesn't stop. So, yeah, I think that we'll be able to balance that out really well.
Okay, thank you for that, Fulgence.
Thank you, Jerry. And so you mentioned that you have an extensive network in the comedy industry. So how do you plan to leverage your celebrity guests to enhance the audience engagement and provide unique value to aspiring comedians and fans?
They're my friends. So for me, it feels a lot less about leveraging friends than it does me sitting around and talking to the people that I enjoy working with. That's really what I want to do. And that's what makes this a little bit more than just a talk show where somebody's, advertising the next project that they're doing. I mean, we can really break down, hey, how were you feeling about that moment, when you were in it? What did it take to make that comedy? What inspired you to make that? Those are the kind of things that we're going to be dealing with. And again, these people are people that I work with. They're my friends. And so, whether it's sitting down and talking to them face to face, or more likely being able to join with them online, and just plan for a really, really relaxed kind of atmosphere where you really get to. And also, something I didn't mention that I played around with is that now that we've got the ability to bring in Zoom guests, maybe a select few of students, quote unquote class, who can ask questions face to face to people questions that you've always wanted to know. I've always wanted to know a lot of things about comedians and how they come up with the things that they do. So I think that's another feature that would help with the whole thing.
Yeah, and thank you for clarifying that, because I had a question about when you mentioned that the viewers will be a fly on the wall. How is that going to, when they have questions and if they want to interact with your guests, how are you going to manage that? But then you just mentioned that you will select a few to come in. So how will that process look like? How will you select the viewers?
Yeah, that's where I need your help. So, if you get viewers, obviously we have the chat where you can ask questions, but it's really nice to be able to go back and forth. So screening viewers is something that I'll probably need help with, with people. I have some other friends that do something like this with their podcast. My friend Tim Heidecker does something called the Office Hours podcast every day, and they have something called the Zoom Room. And they have somebody that's monitoring the Zoom room, and people can come in and out of the Zoom room and ask questions as they see fit. I'm thinking more of something like, as we go into the planning, make a membership or something like that, where we really know the people that are going to be in the Zoom room that are interacting with the guest and myself too.
Okay, all right. So, Fulgence?
Yeah. In your video pitch, right, you mentioned something very important, which leads to the next question. So how has balancing your career and family influenced your new show? And what do you hope others in similar situations will take away from that experience that you have?
Yeah, that's what it's all about for me. So, I think I expressed how much I use Ecamm. I first got into the Ecamm system to use it for auditions, especially during the strike and during the pandemic. We weren't doing any auditions in person. And I felt it was like a really, really cool tool to use to put together to record my auditions. And as I started using, I'm like, hey, how about this? This live thing? I want to check that out. And so I got more into the idea of using this as a live platform. And what was the other part of your question, Fulgence? I'm sorry.
So how has balancing the career and family influenced the new show? And what do you hope others in similar situations will take away from that?
Yeah, so, I thought it's like, is this fair that a person like with me with this background, I have an Emmy nomination. I've written on shows. I've been on a lot of shows. But I am starting from ground one, just like a lot of other people. I purged myself from social media a few years ago, so I'll be getting back into that. I'll have to start new accounts to be able to advertise for the show. But also I work, I work full time. I'm not a big star, I'm what I call a middle class actor, so I have to work. I can't turn projects down. My wife works full time. I'm a parent. And for me, doing something like this really is a way for me to have a calling card, to be out there, to be working, but also to be taking care of my family at home, doing the things that I need to do. I can't run around like I used to before I had a family. So being able to broadcast, being able to do something live from home, and to showcase all of the stuff that I use. I mean, I have all these lights and the microphone. This is all equipment that I've been using in my career before. And so now I can use this to also to gain an audience and to teach, hopefully, some good stuff. So, like I said, like a lot of other people, this is like a side gig for me. It's like a calling card for my regular career, and I'm trying to integrate those things in.
All right. Thank you so much, Jerry. We are sending you back to the green room, and we're bringing over Tatiana. Thank you, Jerry. Tatiana. All right. Hey. So here's your first question. You're
my heart is beating out of my chest over here.
Bring it up, sis. All right. So your goal is to build a global community for university lecturers to transform the college experience. What specific strategies will you use to foster collaboration and engagement among lecturers from diverse backgrounds and disciplines?
In order to do that, I feel like the approach is what's our common ground, and anybody who would be attracted to my content would truly, truly be caring about their students. At the end of the day, I drive from Pennsylvania to New Jersey to teach because I genuinely care about what I'm doing. And so I think, number one, that would be the common ground. And I have a feeling that if lecturer positions are around the world similar to how they are in the United States, there are very few resources, very few support systems, and little to no training, believe it or not. I mean, I love the connection with education here between all of us here today, with Jerry and Matt as well. I feel like that's a little recurring theme here. But teachers in K through 12 have to go through extensive training to teach. When those of us who teach in higher education, that training is not there on the teaching part. And so it can often feel quite lonely, and it's a solo experience. And so the idea of a global community, first of all, I'm just so drawn to the capacity that we have in the world to be so interconnected. We have friends all around the world, that we've never met in person, and we have these URL connections, and sometimes they become IRL connections too, which is great. By the way, I had an experience like that this week, but that's a different topic. And so connecting educators, to me, number one, bonding over creating a wonderful student experience. Secondly, feeling a sense of community to be able to prepare each other. It's not like they're going to come and only learn from me. Even the way I run my classrooms, you learn so much just from the networking and the collaboration piece as well too. So in terms of specific strategies, I feel like the number one thing is for people to find out that something like this even exists. And that is definitely the part that I struggle with the most, because marketing and promotion, for some reason, is just not a great strength of mine. So having the backing of a team at Ecamm to be able to do that part to help me be more visible, I think is step one in terms of a strategy. And then secondly, it would be hard to go around trying to find adjunct professors one by one around the world. So my idea is to approach schools, whether they be community colleges type of schools for your universities, private, public, associations and organizations where adjunct professors are connected to, so that they can find out that this hopefully wonderful resource exists for them, whether they're interested in just checking out the free content on YouTube or grabbing one of the freebies or purchasing some of the turnkey ready-made digital lessons and assets that I hope to share and be able to sell, or signing up for the in-person course where they can get to connect and develop strategies for their courses and learn more about their students. So hopefully that answers the question in terms of strategies that I think would be beneficial. I mean, and I'm sure that there are so many more, but just the fact of having a global community of educators to be able to connect, learn, and grow from each other to create a valuable college experience is wonderful, and also unbelievably interesting for me to compare how someone in Australia or China or Brazil, everywhere around the world, would be teaching their college classes in similar subjects, and what their approaches are and how we can learn from each other. So I hope that answers the question, Anna.
That answered the question and then some, because you can answer a lot of the questions that we have for you as well. But you have
Yeah, and then maybe you can just elaborate on some more. So given that you're skilled in being able to identify lecturers that lack training in creating engaging technology-driven content, so how do you plan to equip those lecturers with the necessary skills and confidence through your platform?
I also hope that I'll be able to create a blog and a newsletter, which is essentially missing in my content currently. As a solo content creator, I know you guys can relate, even though you guys are a team, but people listening in the chat, I know those of us who are in solo mode, it is so hard to do all of these things by yourself. But I do hope to be able to have those things. And I know chatting with so many people in our community. There are so many great resources and AI tools available to us to hopefully speed up that process. I am also working with some students who are willing to help me for an internship as a part-time position, because I don't believe that students should work for free. I can't afford to pay full-time rates or anything, but at least as a part-time position or as a stipend, so that they can feel valued and rewarded for that and be able to have additional resources coming in to help me move these things along. I mean, I know that I'm great at teaching. So I know that I can provide a meaningful and valuable experience. There are a lot of other things that I'm going to need help with. For example, I love the idea of taking comedy classes to help us be educators. So when Jerry was talking about that, I mean, those kinds of things are phenomenal. I teach public speaking at a university, and I call it, like, for educators, it would be like public teaching skills. Just because you're a great educator doesn't mean you know how to show up in front of a group of people, or even how to manage your nervousness, or understand your verbal and nonverbal communication cues and what they say about you, or how to create and foster inclusive and diverse experiences for the students. So there's so many different skills and content that can be taught, but I do plan to focus, number one, on building up confidence, public speaking skills, public teaching skills in particular. But I am very clear on the pillars that I want to teach on, which are active learning strategies, which means students have skin in the game. It is not lecturing. Even though our titles are lecturers, it would not be lecturing. It would be continuous engagement, having students do things. I mean, who wants to go to a class and just sit there and listen? And we all know everybody will tune out. But hey, if you want to hear from me, if you say my name, if you include me, if you create something creative for me to participate in, I think that is excellent. So number one pillar and philosophy is the active learning strategies. Secondly, I love technology and innovation, and that's where all of the beautiful tools that we all use here in the Ecamm fam and outside of it too come into play. I love being able to teach tools to people. My mind understands software and how to use it. I might not be able to create and code the software, but I definitely can show people how to use it and how to make it an enjoyable experience for students and get past the nerves of the technology. The visual design, the production. I mean, hopefully you guys like my brand new background that my partner Ben built for me. I think about these things. I think it's important for things to look good and to feel good in the space. The room even smells good. You can't tell, but I just haven't spirited. This is one of my favorite scents. Like, creating this space is important visually as well as aesthetically, and having the space feel welcoming. The one thing I can say my students have consistently said about me is that they felt welcome. Like, they can show up to class as themselves, which to me is an absolute wonderful experience. And in this case, the professors would be the students as well. And it's so important to take that perspective, to take the posture of a student, and to remember what it's like to be on this side of the equation, so that when you're in charge, when you're teaching, that actually helps you be such a better educator when you understand and remember what it's like to be a student. So those are my thoughts on that, Fulgens.
All right, Tatiana, thank you so much. The following question, you already answered it. So thank you. You covered everything that we were going to ask you. Now we will send you back to the green room, and we will come over with Matt. Matt,
Hey.
All right. Are you ready? Phones are on. I mean, the mics are on.
I'm ready.
So, Matt, your goal is to share wisdom across various life areas with Gen X perspective. How do you plan to infuse your content with humor and relatability to engage audiences of different ages and backgrounds?
Anna, great question. Storytelling. The answer is storytelling. I am naturally, I try and put the zingers in wherever I can. Comedy is difficult, but I think if you look back at some of my history as a watcher of some of these live streams, some of my comments, are highlighted on screen and cause lots of laughs. So I will certainly continue that forward. storytelling is going to be a big part of how to relate to people, I think, of all generations, because just saying what the answer is isn't good content. They have to have the context of why something is a good answer. And I've got answers for micro content on fun little topics, and then, bigger, business, financing, investing topics as well. I mean, I've got strong opinions on what's the best candy is, what the best dish soap is. I mean, the range is everywhere. And I think everyone, washes dishes, and everyone likes candy. And that spans all generations. I welcome everyone into the fold. I love people. I'm a people person. You don't come across many people very often, but that's definitely me. I'm the go up and introduce myself and just talk away. I think that carries forward on camera as well. Live streams will be a big part of that too. People of all generations and all walks of life can interact with me on live streams and get that personal touch and feel heard and welcomed and have their opinions, be, said on the show, and me respond to them. So there's various strategies between live streams, storytelling, big, getting that humor in, and so there's multiple ways to do that. I'm excited.
All right. Thank you, Matt.
Yes, thank you.
Sure thing, Hannah.
You just touched a little bit on this just now, but given your approach, which is respectful yet straightforward, how you ensure that your advice will resonate positively with viewers, but more so when discussing sensitive or challenging topics.
Excellent. I'm thrilled you asked this question, Fulgence. The topics will be vetted. A lot of what I'll do is the video on demand, the edited videos, and I won't touch, topics that shouldn't be touched. People that know me, I have a sunny disposition, and I like to move that forward. Resonating with everyone, I think what I will say will resonate with most people. However, that's a plus when it doesn't necessarily resonate with everyone, because again, people will tune in because they have a different generational outlook and they might want to challenge it. People will want to watch that aren't exactly on the same level. Couple that with people who are on the same level, which I frankly think will be most people. When you have a disproportionate amount of thumbs up and thumbs down, content explodes. But I am very good about staying on message. I'm very good about not crossing any lines. I have been streaming a long time. All of my content is public. I know how to weave in the message and have it be above board, and won't be an issue. Won't be an issue. I have a long history of doing this right, and I just think some generations who might not align with Gen X, I think they'll be the biggest fans. So there's really something here, I think.
Awesome.
I hope that answered your question, Fulgence.
Yes. Thank you.
All right, so Mary, you just mentioned that you've been live streaming for a long time and you have all your techniques and strategies, but maintaining daily content that's both humorous and insightful is ambitious. What strategies will you use to keep your material fresh and engaging? And how do you see Ecamm supporting you in sustaining this level of production and quality?
Leaning on the Ecamm staff expertise is definitely part of this. I have a wide range of experiences to fall back on. I can use the AI tools offline, because a lot of what I hope to do is the edited videos and kind of get, tell me the 10 most common ways to solve this problem, or the 10, so research, I will be doing research on this as well as falling back on my knowledge of how I have solved, the issues being asked in the questions, the viewer questions. And I will also analyze how the performance is on these given topics. I'm good at looking at the analytics and, more importantly, understanding what the analytics are trying to tell you, because the analytics never come out and tell you. You've got to tease out of the analytics what you need from them. They sort of hint at things, and I can certainly use that as part of a way to prepare the content on stream. And for when I do the live streams, which is going to be a part of this as well, the moderator, I hope to have a moderator who can curate the questions and then only put questions that we have previously talked about as the types of questions that would actually make it on the show, because live has its own special considerations. So yeah, there's multiple tools in the toolbox to deal with that, I'm sure.
Yes, thank you so much, Matt, for answering that. And I believe you have
no
one last question, or
We have two more
ooh,
questions.
Matt, are you ready? Bring it on. Okay.
I'm glad you mentioned analytics. So if you notice that some topics are more popular with your viewers, how are you going to adjust your content to focus more on those subjects, if that is the plan?
That answer is a go forward type of answer. Ideally, things will be put into playlists for social issues, for finance issues, for business issues, for home repair issues, for dealing with large corporations and governments. We can put all of these into buckets. And as you mentioned, Fulgens, should the analytics point to strong contenders, the answer is I will just make more of those types of videos, because the content game is all about your next video. And that's the strategy there. So I will, like, if it turns out that social issues are, what people want, we'll load up those topics on the week's videos and the weekly live stream. So yeah, I'll just do more of the thing that's working. That's the way forward.
Awesome. And the last question. You have a lot of incredible projects and YouTube channels already. Awesome fun things, awesome piano, awesome wood. So how do you plan? With that said, how do you plan to find the time to work on the new show and make sure it gets the attention it needs?
I have no issues cranking out work and keeping tabs on the bigger picture. Productivity is in my blood. My full-time job is a business analyst. And if you don't know anything about business analysts, we work at all levels of the business and scrutinize things to make things better, faster, and cheaper. And I have used these techniques to great success across all of my online properties. I consider, me doing this since 2011 up to now. That's the practice run. Now I'm ready to explode and build a channel to just go ginormous. And Notion. Notion.
Awesome.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you so much. Now we're gonna bring all of our amazing finalists here, Tatiana, Jerry, and you the viewers have a chance now to ask them any questions, but we do have one last question that we're going to ask each and every one of you. It will be the same question. Okay, so we're gonna open it up to the floor. So cue column so that we can find your question. Okay. So Tatiana, we will start with you.
Okay.
All right. Building a year-long partnership with Ecamm requires commitment and adaptability. How do you envision collaborating with Ecamm over the next year to grow your content and audience, and what are your key goals for this partnership?
I think Ecamm is going to be that accountability partner that I'm lacking. One thing I learned about myself through lots of different career paths is I don't really enjoy working alone. And so to me, this part of what was so appealing about the apprenticeship is that would solve that for me, because there would be accountability built in. And like you said, Anna, the collaboration piece. So how do I envision it? With the team behind us, obviously idea generation is going to be a big part of it, but also perhaps even course correcting a bit for me, because perhaps I have some erroneous thinking when it comes to what I think would be the best approach, or even the priority or the order of things. You know, there's so much, as I was saying earlier, that we need to make, to create, but in what order, in what steps, what will help me gain the most traction? And obviously that's going to be very customized. Whoever the winner is, it's going to have to be so personal and unique to the individual. So some of the collaboration also will come from getting to know each other a bit more on a different level, because being a part of the Ecamm fam is beautiful and lovely, and that's different than being in that partnership. So I think that there will be a lot of learning about each other that will need to happen. I don't fully 100% know the logistics of how it will work on Ecamm's side, but that's how I imagine it to be on my end, Anna. And then I think the second part of your question was, can you repeat that? What exact strategies?
And what are your key goals for this partnership?
You're right. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Number one is help with visibility, with marketing. It's not that it's hard for me to share. It's just, there's something about the getting the word out part that has been difficult for me. And so I think that would be number one, helping. It would be huge help to be visible to other educators, to help me plug in, because you can have the most amazing content on earth. If nobody knows about it, you're spinning your wheels in mud. And that is how I've been feeling about it, even though I have a lot more clarity and direction now with having a niche audience and having a clear focus. So in part, the marketing, the visibility piece for sure, but in addition, just it helps feel like I'm not alone in this, right? And then it's almost like the analogy in my head is like I'm learning to ride a bike for the first time, and Ecamm is providing the instruction and the training wheels. And then after a year, I don't know exactly what will happen, but I imagine that there will be a lot of long-term relationships established in that, and things that I can never imagine. There's something, if you ever have studied the Johari window, there's the unknown, things that are unknown to me and unknown to you all. And that's the opportunities that lie ahead. So I think in creating this apprenticeship, not only have we created what we know will be what will happen in terms of things like marketing and visibility and accountability and social media posting and live streaming and having a warm audience and all of those things, but also there's this entire area of things that I don't know what's going to come of it, which is part of the beauty and the excitement of doing it. Is we know we can head in this direction, but then we've got to wait and see what other amazing things are going to come from it. So that part is also very exciting, to be thinking about what might happen when the partnership comes together.
Thank you, Tatiana. Great. Fulgence, can you ask the next question? Is going to be
Who are we picking now?
we're gonna pick Jerry.
Jerry. So the same question again. Building a year-long partnership with Ecamm requires commitment and adaptability. How do you envision collaborating with Ecamm over the next year to grow your content and audience? And what are your key goals for the partnership?
Well, I mean, this is something that I wanted to do on my own. And so it was perfect when this whole thing came across because I really need the help. I love the idea of being a one-man band. I love being a one-man band as far as production and being able to do all this stuff and to create all these things. These are things that I can't necessarily do as an actor, but I have control over. And it's really exciting for me to be able to do this, but I need help. You know, I already know that to be able to do a live stream with everything that I want to do and all the elements that I want to bring into it, I definitely need help. It needs to be planned and just I've been practicing at this, and I know it needs so much planning, so much help. So for me, even having somebody to, you know, feed me links while the live stream is going on, feed me things that I'm going to share on screen. Like I mentioned before, having somebody to help me monitor and get our guests, get our audience. Marketing is a really big thing. I already mentioned I'm not on social media. I'm planning to get back on it. And I'm slowly getting back get things together. But marketing is a really, really big thing, and all of these things I find hard to have the time for. You know, I know that I can do a really good live stream with a lot of really funny elements going on in it, as long as it's planned perfectly. And for that to happen, I need help. So I need somebody to help me with the whole running order of the show, to put that together. And if I have all those things put together, if I can come in and have these things that are already planned out, then I know that the live stream is going to run really smoothly. And that's something that can enable me to do it more often. It's something that I can get into maybe a daily or, you know, bi-weekly or something like that. The more efficient that I can do this, the more help that I can get, the easier this job will be, and the easier it'll be after the year is up. So once I find out what it takes to make this thing roll and everything that I want to bring into it and how comfortable I am, then I think I can feel out how much help I'll need going forward after that year. So yeah, I think it's going to be a great partnership. First of all, you know, I'm bringing in, you know, the elements that I've learned about filmmaking, television, you know, cameras and stuff like that. And you can help me with the whole marketing and everything else that it takes to live stream, because this is a whole medium that's new to me as it is to everybody else out here.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Matt, are you ready? The same question for you.
Ready.
Building a year-long partnership with Ecamm requires commitment and adaptability. How do you envision collaborating with Ecamm over the next year to grow your content and audience? And what are your key goals for this partnership?
Excellent. Well, my time, I think my past content speaks for itself. I am an empty nester. I'm Gen X. My son started college 6 years ago. He's been out of college for 2. So I have the time. How do I envision Ecamm helping? I need larger vision help, as well as the run of show. And I need to I need someone to kind of rein me in a little bit, because I tend to just go crazy. So that I could certainly use some help with. The goals on how we would work together. Marketing. I have all the kind of piece. I've dabbled with all of the different platforms and the email list, but there's another level that I see some of the experts at Ecamm using, and I think that knowledge transfer would help. Like, you know, the email where that branches, the email responses trigger, you know, how do you set all those? I'm sending out email newsletters, but they're just, you know, onesie twosies. AI, I'm ramping up to speed with AI, but I see the Ecamm staff doing crazy stuff with it. And I'm picking up a lot from the Ecamm shows, but I think if I was working directly, I could just accelerate my learning on that and actually use it for things that matter. I need some help there. The moderator help, I think the live show is going to lean heavily on a moderator that I can count on that will show up, because up to this point, I've been solo. So I don't have any problems with time. I'm an empty nester. I've done a lot on the internet up to this point. My morning show is going to hit episode 800 at the end of this month. It's kind of crazy. 1,300 total live streams in my lifetime. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos. So I can put in the work, no problem. But I need the higher level vision. I envision, maybe putting my stuff out there in scenery and having some of the staff kind of look over the edits and give me advice there. But, trying to take my marketing with useful, practical skills, I think that's going to be a big help rather than trying to tease out little bits of nuggets here and there. I could just work directly with you and learn all the secrets. So, yeah, I think it'll be a great partnership. I will deliver. This thing will go nuts if it takes off.
Thank you, Matt, for sharing. Thank you, Tatiana and Jerry, for sharing. Now we have some viewer questions for you.
We have some viewer questions. We have so this is for any of the finalists, so you feel free to grab these questions. The first one is from Mary Lou. Mary Lou is asking. Let me see if we could just drag and drop that in there.
Adjust.
We'll just put it right here. Mary Lou is asking, for any finalist, what does an episode of your show look like?
It looks amazing. It looks so good with all my scenes and my overlays and my beautiful background. But in addition to that, in terms of what I envision happening is I'm actually considering finding a co-host, right? Could there be someone who is willing to come on board? I mean, I love the idea of dynamic duos and it really helps. I enjoy those partnerships. So that's a possibility. It's one of the questions I would have. Co-hosting. But in terms of guests, really three kinds of guests that I would want to have on the show. Number one would obviously be university lecturers from around the world, the college educators who are doing the work to share lessons. But what I would like is the show to be compact and actionable. So when you come to the show, when you leave, you've got something you can put into place right away. So it will be a lot about quality rather than quantity per episode. So my thought will be, what will people be walking away with after they come to the show? And that would be something I would work with the guest just to make sure that we've got something actionable, something deliverable. Okay. The other type of guest would be students who are coming on not to vent about all the crazy stuff bad professors have done or their poor experiences, but rather to highlight and share the good things. In this case, I think, as the National Teachers Day and all that, us college teachers, we don't get that kind of love. So I think being able to bring students on and share, this professor was memorable, this is what they did. And I think other professors would benefit from hearing that. And then the third type of guest would be the people who have tools that professors would enjoy. This would be Ecamm, StreamAlive, Miro, Video Pencil, all the tools that I love and use, and then some. Go Brunch, so many different things that they can come and share that would be of value to educators. So, and even in terms of mental health and self-care, I can see myself doing episodes around that. So different guests, but always the focus on education. Mary Lou would be the way that I'd like to run the shows, and I'd like to have it in segments. Some of them being fun, because I am working on being a little bit funnier, and I think that that's important to add that sense of joy and pleasure in the shows, and not just only education. Like, it's being able to give a little candy with the medicine, kind of a thing. So that's a little bit of how I envision the show running.
Thank you, Tatiana. Next is from
Wendy Ashley's.
yes.
So Ashley asked, and this is for anybody who could grab this. What are your true wants, thoughts?
Well, actually, we didn't. If Matt or Jerry would like to answer the
Okay. Sorry
for
about that.
Mary Lou's question.
Yeah.
I'll take
Okay.
Mary Lou's if I can.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. So my an episode would start off with the question on screen from the person who sent their question in. Again, it would be an edited video style, and then I would. So the question could be, what's the best candy? All right. So me, Mr. Gen X, I'd say, well, people would probably think my answer would be Hershey's because I live right next to Hershey, Pennsylvania. But no, it is the gummy candy Juji Fruits. Why? Because when you eat Juji Fruits, now this, I'll put some kind of fun humor into it, they stick to your teeth. So then you have to eat a second one to unlodge the first one, and then a third to undo that, a fourth, and then it would just spirals out of control. And then at the end, you just have to figure it out because you ran out of candy. And that's what Gen X does. Well, if there's a problem, we just deal with it. I could also weave in a story when I was getting my wisdom teeth out as a young person. I had an infection afterwards, and I went back, and here the dentist took one of those spiky things, put it in the hole where the tooth once was, and pulled out what looked like a red piece of rice, a bright red piece of rice. It turned out it was the Juji Fruit gummy candy that got lodged down in there. And he said, I told you not to eat gummy candy. And so there was like a funny, a real life experience. And then, we would end the show like, the answer is gummy candy. And if you can't deal with having the last piece of gummy candy stuck in your tooth and you just can't deal with it like a Gen X would, then you've just got to figure it out. That would be like a typical episode.
Thank you, Jerry. Mute, Jerry. We have a shirt for that, and a cup, and a hoodie.
The whole merch, everything.
Hey, I'm all about comedy, right? Can't do this without doing some joke, without something going wrong. It's all for the comedy. My vision for my show, I would like to maybe start out with something cold opening is what we call it in the business. Maybe something funny up top. I have a wealth of material that I can use, things that I can actually show. I have a pilot I did for HBO years ago that I have sketches on. I have sketches that I've done, or maybe even some original sketches. But I'd like to open up with some comedy. Then we can get into the typical kind of talk show kind of thing where I would do like a monologue, talk about what's going on in the day or the week, and especially with how that has to deal with comedy. So the comedy news, so to speak, of the week. What happened, who's got a new special out, who's touring, what show came out, that sort of thing. Then I'd like to get into the meat of the show, which would be a topic, and pick a topic for each show that has to do with comedy, whether it be a particular special that came out that I want to break down, whether it be a form of comedy that I want to talk about. So this week I want to talk about maybe stand-up in general, or clowns, or sketch comedy. Or I may want to talk about something that specifically came on in the last week, like an episode of Saturday Night Live, which I was a cast member and a writer on, stuff like that. And then after the meat of the show, after I really create what were the subject of the show that we're talking about, the comedy subject, then I had to bring on a guest, get their opinions on whatever we're talking about, and then from there we start to get into some interaction with the audience, getting questions from the audience with the guests. And then we can go out just having fun with our discussion. So that's kind of a rundown, an idea for my show.
Yeah, great.
Awesome.
Great question, Mary Lou. Great question. Of course.
Yes. So Ashley's asking, what are your true wants, thoughts, and feelings for your show in one sentence?
Ooh. Okay, Matt.
Passing on the wisdom of a Gen Xer.
Okay. All right. Tatiana.
helping university lecturers and adjunct professors be the extraordinary educator that college students will love and remember.
Okay, Jerry.
Laughs. I have more, but what more could be said? It's all about laughs. However we can get
Okay.
them.
All
Very
right.
good.
That's
Very
unique.
good.
Yeah.
Very good. All right.
We have DJ Strict.
DJ
Yep.
Strick. Awesome question, DJ. DJ Strick's asking, could you do this show without Ecamm's help?
I'll take that first. Honestly, I could, and I will. How about that? I actually submitted twice, and so I got a letter saying that I wasn't going to the next round earlier before I got the email saying that we're coming to the show today. So the whole day yesterday, I was thinking, well, how am I going to do this without Ecamm's help? So I already have a list of things that, okay, well, here we go. This is what I got to do. So I honestly could, but man, I mean, since Ecamm is so integral to what I'm doing, I think that it's a perfect partnership. But yes, it is something that I do plan on doing without Ecamm's help if they don't help me.
All right. Thank you, Jared.
Thank you.
All right. So, Tatiana.
At first, I read the question as, could you do the show without Ecamm? And I'm like, I don't want to do the show without Ecamm. But I see what you mean here without Ecamm's help. For me, personally, the answer is a yes and a no. Yes, because is it possible in the conceivable world? Could somebody do this without Ecamm's help? Yes. Yes, you can. But also no, because I've been trying to do it and on my own, and I have not been able to for quite a while. So I'm missing something. So, and I will say, whoever the winner is, it will be very well deserved. And if it's not me, what this has taught me is I've got to find something like an Ecamm apprenticeship. So, even if it's not me, I will still need that help to move this forward. This opportunity has shown me I just can't do it alone, and I do need the backing of wiser people to be able to help me move it forward. So it's a bit of a yes and a no in that sense for me.
All right. Thank you, Tatiana. All right, Matt.
I could, but something is missing because my woodworking channel has almost 10,000 subs and slightly growing. My fun channel has almost 1,000 subs and that's tracking. But with Ecamm's help, it could be a rocket ship. So the answer is, of course, I could do the show. I think the missing ingredient would be the knowledge from the staff at Ecamm on how to stitch all of it together appropriately.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Matt. Okay. Do we have Doc? Yes, we have.
Yeah. Good questions coming in. Doc is asking concisely, what have we not asked you that you wish we had?
For everyone. All right, Tatiana.
Tatiana.
You're
muted.
See what a great student I am, Jerry? I'm already learning your ways for comedy here. The question is that I wished would come up is why are we doing this now, and why this particular subject matter? Like, why this content? I don't know if that's all Doc wants us to answer what is the question, or if he wants us to answer the question as well.
Answer it.
Answer your question.
Okay. Well, it was interesting, Matt talking about being an empty nester, and I've definitely been thinking a lot about legacy. And I'm just going to take a second to pause.
Sure. Yep.
Yeah. So, it's got me thinking a lot about family, and I'm not going to apologize for getting emotional, but I do apologize that I sound kind of like you can't hear me well. When it comes to legacy, I think you got to ask yourself, like, what is the mark that you want to leave in the world? And as someone who does not have biological children, I think okay, now I am going to say sorry because I didn't think it was going to go on so much, but the idea, the concept of having this much impact in the world is significant to me as a continuation of, what I am contributing to the world.
Thank you, Tatiana. Thank you. Thank you. That's a great share.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And the Ecamm fam is pouring in with tons of love and support right there. We have a couple more questions.
We have one from Marilu at the top, or Pierre. Yeah, Pierre.
Pierre.
Yeah.
So Pierre, this is asking a question directly for Matt. What's the relationship between you and John Venturini?
I call John Venturini my executive producer. Really, he's just someone who attends my live streams and drops fire comments in the chat. There's really no duties.
Okay, it's your motivator. Okay, your cheerleader. All right, got it.
All right.
I joke. I say I'm going to double his salary of $0 a year.
But before we continue with questions, does anyone have the question, Doc's questions? What have we not asked you that you would like to share? Do you have one, Jerry?
I mean, nobody's asked me any juicy gossip. I got so much I'd love to share it. Yeah, Hollywood gossip. You want? I can tell you what I know.
All right, so, Matt, do you have one that you would like to a question that we haven't asked?
I think talking about my background could have been a question, but that's just an awkward thing to do, to talk about yourself. But I could go into some of the other things I've achieved in my life. I've done.
Got it. Okay. All right. Yeah. So the next one would be, what is it, Mary
From
Lou?
Mary Lou.
Okay.
All right. Oh, Mary Lou is coming with the questions. If you had to start filming this today, what might be the first 3 topics?
Oof. Okay, Matt.
Matt, you're up.
One I already answered was, what's the best candy? Another one could be, what should I invest in? Like a finance question. And the answer really is, S&P 500 stocks, the boring stuff. All of the people that try and give you advice on how to invest, do you know what this thing in? S&P 500 mutual funds. Why? Because it's the best vehicle. I could do another one on my work colleague is having a problem with his young son who's 11, and like me, he was a smaller, scrawny kid. I was a string bean little kid. I got picked on pretty hard in elementary school, so bad that my parents moved me to schools. Anyway, I told my work colleague, one of the things that worked for me is my parents put me in karate. And after a couple weeks of karate, I had some skills. I think I was just carrying myself differently, the way I talked, my mannerisms. And I think that almost imperceptibly, people noticed the shift, and the bullies would choose someone else, just naturally. Not that I ever used the skills in a fight, or not that I talked back. So like another episode could be, maybe if your kid's having, those types of problems, just put them in karate class. It worked for me. So yeah, karate, candy, and how to invest could be 3 shows right off the top.
Okay, great. All
Awesome.
right, Jerry.
All right. Well, every week something happens with a comedian. It seems like in the news. So I don't think there's a wealth of material. But something I've been thinking about a lot. There was just a recently a movie with a lot of controversy around it called "I'm a Racist." Not that I want to go into the material itself, but it's a hidden camera show. And one of the subjects that I really wanted to talk about was hidden camera comedy, which I've done a few of those shows, and so I can give you a lot of experience about what it's like behind the scenes to put together a show, what it takes for those shows to work, and bring a guest on who has also worked on it. I know a lot of people who've worked on a lot of stuff from Ali G to things that I've worked on. I was actually a cast member on the Jury Duty show that was on Amazon, but they couldn't pay me enough, so I couldn't be on the show. But I had a lot of experience, so that would be one topic that I could talk about that could definitely take up a few hours with guests and all the wealth of information that we could talk about. Another thing that I wanted to talk about was stand-up in general and the history of stand-up comedy, because when you think about comedy, stand-up is actually a newer form of comedy that we have. We've had sketch comedy. Sketch comedy actually predated stand-up. So I want to go into the history of stand-up and where that came from, who was the first person that did it, that kind of thing. Obviously, it could bring in a few guests who could talk about stand-up and what it takes and talk about the history of stand-up. Another thing that I wanted to talk about was it's the 50th anniversary of Saturday Night Live this year. I was a cast member and a writer on this show. Obviously, I want to talk about that. It'd probably be a number of shows that I could talk about the history of Saturday Night Live and to bring in alumni and guests and different friends and people that I've worked with. But that is definitely a great subject to talk about. So, as far as I'm concerned, I've got too many subjects to talk about, and things come up every day as far as comedy is concerned. So. There's a wealth of information, wealth of topics that I could use.
Great.
Awesome.
Thank you, Tatiana.
Yes, thank you. I'm back. Thank you, everybody, for the support earlier. I am a lot like Jerry and Matt in that I have 50 bajillion ideas. So there's a Notion database filled with stuff. But thinking about the timeliness of it and having to come up with something. Okay, so if we were going to do something now. Right now, it's the middle of the semester. Students are going through midterms. There's a lot of grading happening. So I think one of the episodes could be about what role do we play in helping our students navigate that particular time of year? What are things that we can do that are helpful in terms of helping them understand learning and help them be more successful? Then secondly, I think one of the biggest thorns in our sides when it comes to teaching is the grading aspect itself. So I've learned some great ways to be more efficient with that. It's something that I'm always refining, but efficiency around grading to help alleviate the crazy stress, the headaches, like that just sucks the joy out of teaching. And then a third one, I like Jerry talking gave me an idea. It might be nice to do a little behind the scenes of on-campus content. That would be more for a video on demand versus a live stream, unless I can figure out how to get a production team going live. But I know it can be done too. So something to highlight the parts of the world that we teach in, and maybe even then encourage people in this future community that I'd like to bring to then share a little snippet or share a video of what their campus is like or what their teaching space is like. So those are 3 ideas that came to mind.
All right.
Incredible.
Thank you.
Incredible.
And do we have one last question?
Thank you for all the questions, everyone. This one is coming in.
So before we continue, if you have a question and you're waiting to ask it now because you only have 10 more minutes for it. Okay. So here we go. Here's the
wait,
next
do I have the this? Wait, hold. Here it is.
Okay.
Okay.
Send it. Okay.
All right, so this is coming from the Woo Pig podcast. What's going on? Great question. What is your biggest struggle? It could be tech, ideas, workflow. What is your biggest struggle?
Let's go with who wants to go first?
I can take
Yeah,
this
it's
one
already in the
first.
chat.
Oh.
Actually, all three of us at once.
Go ahead,
how
Tatiana.
that goes.
Go ahead, Tatiana.
Okay, thanks, guys. I'm the shortest, so that's why they picked me to go first. But I biggest struggle right now is a lot of what I spoke about earlier, which is the trying to do this alone aspect. So it's the solitariness of it that seems to not be propelling me forward. So I'm going to say that also leads to inconsistency and not having a plan and feeling overwhelmed. But that particular problem leads to many other problems. So that trying to do it alone piece for me would be the biggest barrier that then leads to subsequent problems as well.
Awesome.
All right, great. And now we have Jerry.
Yeah, for me, time. I just don't have time, time to do this is one thing. Time to prepare for this is another thing. So that's where I need the help. Any help that I can get to prepare helps me to be able to do this. Yeah, the biggest barrier is time. And so that means, so I can also, I guess, integrate that into this answer, which is marketing, because I don't have the time to market it. So putting out videos, putting out, different posts and stuff like that, that's what I need. That's the biggest thing.
Got it.
Okay, Matt.
I need to know how to stitch all of the skills I've dabbled in, stitch it together for a good, clear marketing effort. I could use the show prep and the vision stuff from Ecamm. And another stumbling block, you're not going to believe it, audio. I have struggled with audio. I don't know what, I know this is a somewhat nicer microphone. Believe me, it is a constant struggle. I know there's a way to make it click in my brain. I just don't. Anyway, I've been having audio issues forever. So that's some of my stumbling blocks.
That looks like a nice microphone there. Just visually.
It's the Heil PR40, baby.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
swear by it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
It
that's
can go
good.
toe to toe with most mics. It really can. But I struggle with the dialing it in. There's a whole college course on this to learn. It's tough for me anyway.
They're saying you sound tremendous.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I appreciate that.
And
Thank
it
you.
looks good too, right? So that's like it has the two elements.
And then one final question before Paul has to go pack for a
Yes,
critic.
yes. We're here on time. We're time. That's what I'm saying. You have like 3 minutes to type
Right.
your last question.
Right, the real minutes, Doc, not the Alicia Way minutes. I saw your comment there. So Brandy is asking, what are your top 5 leadership strengths?
Okay, we go with Jerry.
Oh, top 5 leadership's funny. Is that a leadership strength? I think I have a really good vision for what this is going to be. So my vision, I think, my planning, I have everything, I think, pretty much mapped out of what I want. I just need to tell somebody what to do. Another one, I think I'm easy to work with. So anything that I need to learn, anything that you need to tell me, I'm a sponge. Just let me know what I need. I'm very willing to learn as much as I can about this space and what I don't know about this space, and so that I can be as successful as possible. And I think the last thing, I already said funny, so I was going to say fun, but this will be fun to work on. It won't be a grind. It should be something that should be light and fun for everybody who's watching and everybody who's involved in it.
Awesome.
All right, thank you. Okay, Tatiana. What are your top 5 leadership strengths?
Okay, I think I'm going to go with creative. My handwriting
the
stinks,
pencil.
but just bear with me. Creative, collaborative. I'm also the oldest in my family and conscientious, so I also make sure to hold people accountable. So accountability, but also with kindness. So being able to hold people accountable, but also being considerate that you're always talking to a human being, regardless of the circumstance. And then lastly, I think a leadership strength for me is, doing what I do with love. I do think that that is a strength.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank
Love
you.
it.
Matt? Let me see. Well, Matt's going to pull up here.
Oh boy. Buckle up, folks. No, I'm just kidding. I'm a great people person. I can talk to people at any level, at the executive level, management level, worker level. It doesn't matter. I have an excellent ability to translate geek into English. So complex technical topics I can break down very plain English. Leadership skill of understanding large sets of data. I live in the data. I have Notion art that I made myself. Yeah, data. I can translate the data. I'm a productivity expert. I think that helps with management because I know, good techniques to get things done. And I have the art background too. So when I need to explain something, I often use visuals, and I can pull that off as well. So creative, productivity expert, large sets of data, good with people, and geek to English, baby. It's served me well.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Matt.
Nice.
And oh my gosh, like this was supposed to make it easier to make a choice, but you all three did incredibly. Congratulations! This was
Thank you.
amazing, and this is we have 30 seconds for each of you, and we will be timing you, so have the timer ready for you to let us know anything else. Why should you be the winner? Why should you be the winner? 30 seconds, and then we're gonna tell you when to go. Get ready.
Starting with.
Ready, everybody? Okay, we're gonna start with Matt. Go.
Volume. I can crank out the work, and volume means more eyeballs, more people seeing the show, more people seeing Ecamm. With the leadership from Ecamm, I can drive this thing up and up and up. Unlimited topics, humor, storytelling, hitting people with the live stream. I don't know why I said that, but engaging people with the live stream, making that connection.
we needed the sound. Okay, we needed the sound, bro. Okay, Jerry, are you ready?
I am.
Go
Listen,
ahead.
everybody. Now I'm going to get serious with you for a moment. This is where you want to come to for comedy. This is the place where you want to know anything about comedy. If you want to know what comedians are talking about, what they're doing, how they come up with it, this is the place where you want to come. And I want this to be the place that everybody knows that, hey, if you want to really get it from the horse's mouth about what's going on in comedy, you need to go to Jerry Miner's podcast. I don't think I need to say any more.
So this is being called the Anna buzzer. That's what.
Oh my God. Okay. All right, are we ready?
Hold on a second here. Yes.
Okay, Tatiana, go.
Think about two things to help you make this decision. Who was the worst teacher, professor you've had, and who was the best that you've had? Unfortunately, it's so uncommon to have unengaging, boring lecturer type of professors in college. So if you want to be a part of transforming that and helping make sure that college is not boring, but a beautiful transformative experience for students, then I hope that you will pick my topic. Thank you.
Wow.
That's it, everyone. This has been incredible. There are still 2 other finalists, and you can catch them live at Jeff's
Jeff C.
on Friday. And there will be more details on that. So make sure you're tuned in. This has been incredible. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for your questions. You amazing viewers. Thank you, finalists, for your time, for your submissions, and for your incredible answers.
Yes.
You will be hearing back. The winner is going to be
Doing Creator Camp.
Doing Creator Camp. So good luck to all of you. Good luck.
Yes.
Yes.
And just one final request. Can you do the honor buzzer again?
I got energized by the buzzer, so it's not going off. So it's not going to come through.
I'm capturing that soundbite, Anna. I'm just giving you fair
On the replay.
But everyone,
Oh my
thank you
gosh.
so much. Stay tuned. Again, you should all be proud of yourselves. You did incredible, and we will see you on the next episode with Jeff C.
Thank you, and
everybody.
all the best. All the best to you guys. Good luck. Best of luck.
Good luck.
Yes.
Good luck.
Thank
Same.
you.
Awesome. Thank you so much,
you.
everyone. Bye.
Bye.